I left Bridgerton season 4 feeling absolutely nothing.
At the point, I was like, okay, because we didn't know how it's going to end, and you're like you always say, the stakes are not high enough for me to
Yeah.
be at the edge of my seat. So just saying, okay, kiss and go and get out of here. That's how I felt when I was watching it. But still, I've also always placed it above the other Bridgerton season. Of course, not Queen Charlotte. Queen Charlotte is the best. Queen Charlotte is in a league on its own. But for the other Bridgerton series, I'm ranking the seasons. I'm going to rank this one first. I don't know why.
I
It's not
think
the
even
best,
with the
but
way it ended, I would even leave it at number 3.
number three. What's number one for you?
What is Daphne and the Duke?
Okay, they set the tone. I understand, but I just feel like people say, "Oh, don't bring modern sentiments into historical fiction." But still, I cannot stomach the fact that Daphne was just very clueless about sex. Number one, number two. I know that it happens. Highborn girls already know a lot of things, but I just feel like one way or the other, curiosity is going to set in. Then number two, I just cannot understand why Daphne did that to the Duke. In the word of the internet, graped him. That's why I cannot put that one at number one. And the swooning, I did not really get the swooning from people at all. I did not swoon for any single Bridgerton series, so I'm gonna put this one first.
I think I'll circle back to what you just said.
Yeah,
But one of the reasons why I'm bored with this show, though we said in our last video, like you said,
yeah,
the stakes are not high enough.
yeah,
This season, we're focused on Benedict's relationship with
yeah,
Sophie.
yeah.
So at the end of the last part one, we saw him
Mm.
asking her to be his
His
mistress, and
mistress.
she ran away. Then this part started, and we're seeing him telling his friend about, oh, he has fallen in love with a maid, and his friend saying, oh, why don't you try to woo her and just try to understand her instead of just talking? And automatically, you won't tell me that Ben did not think about it. Okay, I'm talking about the stakes now. Now both of them decided, okay, we love each other so much, and let us be together. But we're not really saying anything. The mother is not saying no. Imagine if the mother, for once in her life, tried to say, oh my God, I thought you'd be better for him.
Yeah,
Or the society found out, one person found out, the mates found out,
yeah,
and his position as a Bridgerton is being threatened. All
yeah,
we heard was talk. They were just telling us, and they were not even showing us.
yeah.
Imagine they showed us that the stakes are high for what's his name? Benedict to lose his position as a Bridgerton. He will not protect his family.
And I would have loved it if that was the story,
Yeah.
because it happens. Highborn people and the maids. This happened to him. He had to now live his real life in the countryside. It happens. I would have loved it that that was his case. Then maybe later on they will not be reintroduced to society, small like that. Well, everything just felt a bit convenient. They were wrapping this up with a bow. I was just like, okay.
I knew how it was going to end, and that was one of the reasons that I did not really want. I told you I don't want to watch part 2
The
because
first part was okay. You get, if we're going to compare the first part and the second part was okay. Even the arresting her over shoe clips. Okay.
I did not really. She looks a little so good. I think I would say maybe it's from the costume department now. She looked a little too perfect for a maid.
And you know that I think when they talk about fairy tales, they're trying to say that, oh, even with the hardship, she still glows, she still maintains this beauty and everything. I think that's what they're trying to do there.
Anyway, back to the whole Bridgerton. Why you rank this one as number 2 and Daphne and the Duke is not on top for you. To me, I think Daphne and the Duke season, that season 1 set the standard for the show.
Yeah, it's
and this one followed that same formula.
Yeah.
And I think the whole Bridgerton formula is already getting really boring
and repetitive.
Very repetitive and it's irritating already. Meet cute, we'll go to a ball. Another ball. Oh my God, this ball.
The queen said this.
Misunderstanding. Oh, we're fine now and we'll kiss and get married.
Yeah.
It's never more.
Yeah, no. Even with the whole Lady Whistledown thing, I felt like they did Lady Whistledown too early. Now they're saying, oh, there's a new Lady Whistledown in town. That would pique curiosity because people want to know who the new Lady Whistledown is
for the next
season. So, okay.
Well, I highly recommend that if they're going into any other Bridgerton shows, they should drop this formula. But that's the problem with this one.
Yeah, because even the side stories that are now being added to make us interested, like, for example, the Queen and her lady in waiting, that Lady Danbury wants to explore other things in the world. And people have always have tagged this as very wholesome story about friendship. It's okay, but as much as they try to say, okay, look at this side quest, it's also very interesting. You are still focused on the main characters here, like, okay, what do you have for me? I know what these people are doing might be interesting a bit, but I want more from you. So that's how you feel watching Bridgerton.
I also think that's one of the reasons why the show is so boring, because it has a lot of characters that we are all focusing on, and it just seems like, oh, you're jumping from one conversation, like you walk into a room, see people talking, you go to the next room, see people talking, you go to the next room, see people talking, and you walk back and you walk back, and that's how it is. You're never ever connected to any character on their story. For example, Lord Kilmartin, John Kilmartin dying this season, I did not care about it. I found it boring.
I felt nothing. I already knew that Francesca's husband.
Yeah, we're hearing talk online. I've not read the book.
I've not read. I've not bothered continuing the book.
That Francesca and her in-law were going to have a thing.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like they introduced him for that alone, and then they wanted us to agree for a particular episode for Lord Kilmartin when we don't really care about him. When they were talking about Congress and the rest, I'm like, okay, boohoo, get out of my hair.
So maybe Francesca and her love interest might be the one next season. Maybe not. It's up Eloise.
They're going to make Francesca's story next. Okay, let's go to the countryside. Let's go to Scottish countryside. Let's see them live their lives. Let's not see them just preparing for balls and hosting and all of that.
Yeah.
Especially for Eloise. I think Eloise has gone through the whole debut, because that's the formula we always get to this every season. A debut, one of the Bridgerton boys is not married yet. One of them is married or whatever. One person married last year. So Eloise should be somebody that because she doesn't really care about these society events and meeting people like this. So it should be something really wholesome, something nice. Yeah. I think the only part of this season that I really enjoyed was when Benedict and Sophie were on the countryside or in the cottage.
Yeah,
it was nice. Different. The colors were nicer. Everything was just breezy. You are just focused on what is going to happen here.
Yeah.
They're going to kiss. They're going to recognize her. Yeah. Like, there was something there.
Yeah, there was something there. It was like straight out of a book. It was nice.
It felt nice. But a lot
of having a high fever and everything was okay.
So okay, so I think that's the best part of the season. It's not the whole back in the city and doing what God knows what. So if they're going to do any story, it should be not focused on the season anymore. I think they write the thing so much about the season that it's just boring.
Yeah.
And I hope that now that Lady Danbury, maybe how she's leaving, maybe that's what they're trying to take us away from the whole scene of the public. The only season of Bridgerton that trying not to follow this formula was the Pauline season. That's the last season. Because it was more of friends to lovers.
Yeah.
That's the only season that have been different. Although I did not like it, but it was something. It was a new take to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Unlike this one.
Yes, I totally agree. Even the whole the other characters, like you said, there are a lot of characters, and now they brought Kate and Anthony this season. It was just there was no need. You know how Daphne and the Duke are just living their merry lives? It's much better. Then they say, oh, this person sent word. It's much better than they to appear like what I don't know in the scenes and they go.
Your mama.
There's no need for Kate. Kate, like it was just ridiculous to me. Kate and her husband.
It's their house.
It's their house. And I'm saying you can write them better into the script than just water pass. Then calling her Penelope, like it's so annoying. The only time that that I'm saying maybe now is Lady Whistle down. I'm like, I don't really care about this right now. Take them off my screen. Especially Kate and Anthony, they'll always bring them like
really this that season.
No, that's my least favorite season. No. That's my least favorite season. If I'm being honest. I don't like Colin and Penelope. I don't know. Those seasons they're the worst to me. I cannot even pick one. But I just feel like you can do this thing better. They brought it on. Edmond is finished there. That's Kate and Anthony. Anthony kept to talk, one kind talk. Then they left. I'm like, okay. I just feel like in stories like that, the other part, I don't know how to explain it.
This show lacks heart and it's just flat. Even from the lines, it's obvious they're just trying so hard to have memorable one-liners that people will put online.
Like with your stupid hair and your stupid face. I think yes, he has a stupid face actually. I'm sorry. That might sound disrespectful, but I'm not vibing on that face at all. But you see Sophie carried the season to me, especially in the first part. But the second part, I'm just like, okay.
Girl.
I was very happy that she had a pregnancy schedule. I wanted her to be pregnant. Make her heart beat faster.
No, they don't resolve her.
Make her heart beat faster, make her uncomfortable, make her cry. I needed that. That rush.
Like, you feel the rush. I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They not do it that, okay, she's not pregnant. Oh my God, what is Benedict going to
out
do?
Of wedlock.
Even how they, like, I hate the final scenes when they now resolved it and made, she's a cousin of this family. it was like the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
ridiculous thing ever. I don't know how the queen would believe that. Like
yeah.
no smart person would walk into a
That's
room
how I was
that
saying
they
that
were
they have just
called.
made it that they will not be looked down upon in society. There are people like that that they will
Even
whispers.
if they made it out, okay, they wanted to make it out. But the fact that the queen was told about the maid and all, so they now just discredit everything.
Yeah, like there'll be whispers in society. Oh, this is one when you are in love with this person. That's what a forbidden romance is. Not that let's just pass it up. Yeah, okay.
Bridgerton is boring. That's just what I have to say in this video. It's really, really boring. I don't know about people that are enjoying it. I don't think I'll watch it. I think the only person I'm really interested in their story going forward is Eloise. That's what I was talking about, how I like her season to go. I don't want it to be ball, ball,
I'm thinking
ball.
okay, maybe Eloise. I don't think Eloise yet. I think Francesca first before Eloise.
Has a lesbian.
That's the same sex marriage that they're going to introduce. I don't think it's necessary.
If
Nothing
wait,
against that relationship, but I just think that if you're going to do it, you say, okay, I'm going to do this relationship. Let us not, according to what people say, to people like me, when I say, oh, Daphne and the Duke, that was great. I did not like that at all. It was like I couldn't even believe that someone wrote that in a book. It's very inappropriate. You get if the tables were turned, they were called it grape. So why would not say that don't bring modern sentiment into historical whatever?
I
So
think this
from
has happened with reverse genders before in books.
um,
I think this has happened with reverse genders before in
well, we
books.
call it what it is. We call it what it is during war and everything, spoils of war. It's actually not appropriate. We call it what it is. Even at
And they
that
fall in love. I mean, I'm trying to say in this context of historical fictions too, there are books that happen with the other one. They're still in love. Maybe they quarrel for a time, just like the way the Duke and Daphne
I
were.
get it, but at least but it is what it is.
I'm not saying it's not what it is.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't. It's tricky to me.
It is what it is. Even the book, when I read the book, I was like, oh my god, that's one of the number one highlights of what a lot of people said when they read the book.
They were already having intercourse.
Yes, and the man said, I do not want a child. I do not want a child. The man said, I do not want a child. Then he was drunk and she did it. Do you get?
They were doing it together already now.
They were already doing that. The man
they
said,
were doing it in that moment until she
no,
trapped
no,
him
no,
on the
no,
bed.
no, 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 no. He
That's
was
how I remember
drunk.
it.
He was drunk. Okay, maybe maybe I'm mixing it up with the book now. But that was still what, and maybe they tried to lighten it in the show. But that was what happened in the book. I'm talking about Eloise and I said Limpy. I'm talking about Eloise and I don't even know how her name is.
Francesca and Michaela.
Francesca and Michaela. I think that if you're going to bring that story, not the way they try to patch it, because things don't have to happen and end with wrapped in a bow. We're in a society where these things were frowned upon at the time. So if you're going to really act that, not what they did with Benedict and Sophie that they tried to say, lighting up, you get
that.
Yeah.
If
they're going to do it, they should do it well.
Gender at that time,
Yeah.
it was not this thing. But I'm wondering that if we're not sounding like people that say, people of color should not be acting these roles, like Queen Charlotte, and the Lord Kilmartin's role.
Well, Queen Charlotte is a black woman.
Yeah, like Michaela. People have said she's a woman of color.
Yeah,
like Michaela would not have this, or even what's the name of this family that's inherited. And there will not be lords and be in this society like this with these people.
So they're trying to say it's a fantasy.
Yes.
So she lighten up.
I think that's what they will tell us. But I think that if you are saying that a mage cannot be with a nobleman's second son who does not even have money, we should say that same sex is not appropriate in this show
at the time. So I think they should do it well. That love, because those are stories that are real. They are real. They exist.
I think that I don't think they will make it, because I feel like Francesca just been starting line already. I don't think it'll be one grand season for her. She will always be like a side character.
Okay.
Her love story will always going to be like a side character story. Maybe we'll see bits of her falling in love with Michaela, and I would love to see that. I would love it, their story, their secret affair, how they want to do it. Is she pregnant? Is she not pregnant? I'm really not sure right now.
Yeah, she did not have the baby. She had the baby. I was not sure, but I was not very clear about that. But for me, if they're going to do that, they should do it appropriately. That okay, the society is going to look down on their nose at them, but their love
will be more of a secret affair
prevailed.
So you can show the struggles of people who are bisexual.
Yeah. So that's what I think. Well, let's know what you think in the comments. We have said a lot of things in this video. We talked about how Bridgerton might just be following the same square strategy.
Yeah,
and we're bored of that. Then also talk about the coming seasons, what to look out for Eloise, Francesca's new relationship with Michaela. We didn't talk about Violet Bridgerton though. What do you think about Violet Bridgerton?
I think she's overdoing it now. I think she
She's
can.
about doing it, yeah.
I think she can be with the love of her life, the new love that she has found. I know she has two children. They are young, but they're going to debut soon. Accepting the marriage proposal right now is not bad for her
No, I okay, I'm
because
seriously getting
her
me.
eldest son is married and he has a wife, and ideally in that society, he's supposed to be in charge of his little sister right
But
now.
that's not her problem right now.
What's the problem?
Her problem is that she has been a wife and a mother all her life, and she just
You're
gets
about
to.
to be a wife and a mother.
She does not want to be another person's wife again. Like, let's just be having
She's
our
not been
fun.
somebody's wife for years.
That's what she's saying. That she does not want that. That she had done wife. So somebody's wife, she was in love. Marlon was, but they had many children. Now she has been a mother, a mother, a mother, a mother. Now she does not want to be owned by anybody. She doesn't want to be herself
But if
violent.
we're talking about how this in context of the
At
historical
the
thing,
time,
she is still owned by somebody. She won't be in the dowager house. She'll also move out of there right now, and she'll be answering to her son.
yes, I get it. But she does not want. Okay, now her son is kind enough to her that, oh, okay, you can stay in the house and everything. She does not want to.
Still momming him, still momming her grandbaby, still momming her daughter and her son that are not yet married, and Eloise still fighting for Eloise. I think that I'm not saying that if she gets married to this man, she will not be able to take care of her children. I don't think he's that type of person that will
It's not
restrict
about
her.
children. It's about her, Violet, being free.
I know it's about her being free, but I think if she's with this man, they're at this age where they're going to have new babies, and I think
Yeah.
they'll be free together.
Yeah.
You don't need to just be sleeping around with him and like unless Val wants to tell me that she wants to start sleeping with other people,
And that's
not
why
just him.
I just want to be in a castle on her
Yeah.
own and everything, just living
And
her
which is not
days
possible because
alone.
of the time and the context that we're in. Because even her relationship with him is supposed to be frowned upon if anybody finds out that
Yeah.
oh, this widow is sleeping with this man, this
Yeah.
widow and this widow are sleeping together. Honestly, he seems like a very open-minded person that if she decides to be with him, they can be together and have a wonderful relationship. She'll be happy and she'll be able to still help her children. Because there's something that you
Yeah.
marry them and you'll not be able to go back to your children or be
Yeah.
involved in their lives at all. But she'll be able to do all those things and still be violent.
Yeah.
Even more violent than when she was with the Bridgerton man. But that's just me.
Yeah, because it might not demand too much from her. But people are laughing about that. Maybe it's a situationship. I don't know. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, do take care of yourself.
Bye.